This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Forget the frustration of picking commerce platforms when you switch your business to Shopify, the global commerce platform that supercharges your selling wherever you sell. With Shopify, you'll harness the same intuitive features, trusted apps, and powerful analytics used by the world's leading brands. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/tech, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/tech.
This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Is there something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals? I know for me, I hit a wall in June. The pandemic was causing a lot of stress for me, and I knew that I needed to talk to someone. So I signed up for BetterHelp. No joke. And it has been so helpful to have a professional to talk to virtually. Here's how it works. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. And you can start communicating in under 48 hours. To be honest, taking the survey is actually kind of fun. I don't know why. But after you're matched, you can log into your account anytime and send a message to your counselor. You'll get timely and thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions. I personally switch back and forth between doing video sessions at my house and doing phone sessions while walking around my neighborhood. BetterHelp is more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. BetterHelp wants you to start living a happier life today. Visit betterhelp.com/good and join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional. And BetterHelp is offering a special offer for Sounds Good listeners to get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/good. That's betterhelp.com/good. One more time, that is betterhelp.com/good. This podcast is sponsored by Libro FM. Libro FM is the first and only company that lets you purchase audiobooks directly from your favorite local bookstore. You can pick from more than 150,000 audiobooks, including bestsellers and recommendations from booksellers. I have been using Libro FM for months now before they were even a sponsor, and I just finished listening to Barack Obama's thoughtful new book, as well as Samantha Irby's hilarious book, Wow, No Thank You. And for both purchases, my cute little bookstore, Broadway Books, was supported. With Libro FM, you get these same audiobooks at the same price as the largest audiobook company out there. You know the name. But you'll be a part of a different story, one that supports community. If you're new to audiobooks, they're the perfect way to get more books into your busy life. Listen while doing chores, walking the dog, or just relaxing at home. All you need is a smartphone and the free Libro FM app. As a special offer for Sounds Good listeners, get 2 audiobooks for the price of one, only $14.99, with your first month of membership with the code GOOD. All you have to do is visit the website libro.fm, that's libro.fm, and use the promo code GOOD to get started with 2 free audiobooks and to help support this show. Hey everyone, it's me, Branden Harvey, and welcome to our first official episode of Sounds Good. I am so excited. You guys have been so supportive through this whole process. I've been a little bit nervous, but now I'm excited, so welcome. Today I'm talking with Taylor Tippett. She's unbelievably fun and positive. She's amassed more than 125,000 followers on Instagram by sharing photos of her life as a world-traveling flight attendant. She started this beautiful project called Words from the Window Seat, where she shares photos of uplifting and encouraging notes she leaves on airplane windows. And if that feels at all familiar to you, it's because earlier this year, she blew up online when Discovery Channel made a mini documentary about her. It went totally viral, and since then, she's been featured all over the place and talked about by publications like Huffington Post, ABC, Fox News, and The Today Show. So without any further ado, here's Taylor Tippett. You're not going to want to miss this. I just picked up Taylor. She flew in last night. Taylor, how are you doing?
I am doing so wonderful. So great.
It's so good to have you here. This is so much fun.
Thank you. I know.
It's so good. And so you're a flight attendant, so you get to bounce around between all these places. And I've been following your journey from the beginning of your flight attendant thing. I remember you going to flight attendant tryouts or whatever that is, and then flight attendant school.
Yeah.
What inspired you to pursue that job?
So at the time, before I was a flight attendant, I was a nanny for 2 little girls, and I adore children, but I knew, since I didn't go to school, that I needed to get something with more stability and in ways I could grow and like challenge myself. So I started thinking about what I wanted to do, with my like job in the future. And so I thought of working on a cruise ship at first because I realized I really love people, like in the worst case scenario. Like I just love challenges, and I think people traveling is a big one sometimes. It can bring out the worst in people. But I looked into working on a cruise ship, and I was like, I would no. Like I'm going to be miserable stuck on a ship. And then my grandma was a flight attendant for Pan Am, so I called her one day and just threw out that idea of being a flight attendant. And after talking to her, I got off the phone, and literally 15 minutes later, my mom had sent me a text that said that American Airlines was hiring 1,500 people, like within 15 minutes. So I just went ahead and applied, and it took forever to get it, but that's how it kind of all happened. So
that's great. And then you kind of went through the process of learning how to be a flight attendant.
Yeah.
What is that like?
So that whole situation of wanting to become a flight attendant was in June of 2014, and then I applied in July, and it took 6 months to like even get a training date. So I went to training in February of 2015, and it was literally unreal. Like it's like learning a whole new language for like 3 months straight. And just like and then I got sent straight like to work on airplanes, which was like, so you learn all this stuff and you think you know what you're doing, and then you get into the real world and of flying, and people are it really is like you like practice everything that you learn. So but training was absolutely crazy. It's just so weird, like, because we spent so much time on, like, simulators and stuff, like, learning, and then you go out and you're just, like, on a real airplane, and it's, like, there's no in-between. It's, like, fake, and then bam. So, but it was really, really cool. I learned a lot and met a lot of really awesome people in my class, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
And I feel like everybody kind of imagines that they want to be a flight attendant. You know, it's very idealized, and it's something that everybody kind of dreams of doing. And you do a really good job at it, but like, what's like the kind of reality of it? Like, are there any things where you're like, I don't necessarily love this, and what's it actually like to be a flight attendant, and what are some of the biggest struggles of the job?
I think I have a way personally of just making the best out of every situation that comes my way. So I definitely romanticize it a little bit, I think, but that's because I just truly love it. But I get so many questions all the time, and like people just emailing me and asking me like, what's it like, just like kind of how you asked. And it's so hard to answer sometimes because, like I said, I make the best out of it. But it's a lot of really, really hard, long days. You can have a lot of really mean people on your flights, and it's hard not to take that personally. So that, number one. And then a lot of times it's like you get there at like midnight and you leave at like 8 a.m. Like you get to your bed, you take a shower in the morning, and you leave. There's not a lot of long layovers. So it's really lonely too. It can be really, really lonely and just stressful, and sometimes you don't have a say-so in like your schedule a little bit. So it's just a lot of being like very, very open to whatever's thrown at you in like any circumstance. And yeah, that's probably the worst part of it, is just the loneliness of always being alone or like just getting to your hotel and then leaving like as soon as you wake up. So, but yeah, that's probably some of the main ones.
Yeah, I guess those are things that I would never really think about for being true. What are some ways that you think that you specifically combat that? You know, you're a very optimistic, positive person, and I know that from knowing you in person and then also online.
Yeah.
How do you incorporate that into your job? You know, how do you choose happiness as a part of what you do?
I think a lot of, not even with like my work, but just in general, it's really all about perception and how you view things, because I could literally sit around and find so many things to complain about, like that I only am there for 8 hours, like, or 10 hours or whatever it is. But instead of doing that, I just view it as like a blessing, like another hotel bed to jump on for like 5 minutes, you know? So I think a lot of times it's just how I view the things that happen to me and like the situations. But also like for like lonely, hard nights, like The Office. Like, so I like, or like reading a good book or like FaceTiming my best friend or whatever it might be. I think I just won't sit and mope in sadness, because that's not going to get me anywhere. So whatever I can do to like turn myself around. But I think it's all about how you view things. You know, you're going to make the situations what they are, because it's all inside of your head. So
I love that. I love that you're just choosing happiness.
Yeah.
You're making a choice not to sit. Like, it's not that you're not having those feelings. It's not that you're not having a hard time, but you're choosing not to stay there, not to sit there.
Yeah, and that's been a big part of my story, and like just being a flight attendant is just choosing not to stay in like the muck and the bad stuff, because you're just going to end up sad and upset, and then what are you going to do, you know? So, yeah. Yeah,
that's so interesting. And it's really cool that, I don't know, I feel like there's something there with this idea that when you're flying, when you're traveling, it's very easy to idealize and romanticize. But for you, it's like your job and you do it every single day. And so it can get monotonous. And so you kind of have to also find ways to make this monotonous thing fun and exciting.
Yeah, for sure. And you can do that through just about, you know, anything if you set your mind to it. So
yeah. Well, okay, I guess this is a good way to ask you. Tell me about words from the window seat.
So, Words from the Window Seat is so much fun. It's my little baby. I don't even know, like, even when I could cry right now even thinking about it. But honestly, it was just an idea that sparked from, like, a really hard time and season in my life where I was just beating myself up a little bit over, like, meaningless things that didn't even matter. So, I was sitting on an early morning flight that was pretty empty in the back row. And I was looking out the window journaling, and I had like a small little duffel bag open towards me, sitting next to me. And I saw a small little like composition pad. And I just had the idea to write "Be kind to yourself" on it, and to tape it up and to like share it with my Instagram followers and my blog, because I think it's always been a goal of mine to encourage like those that listen to what I say, whether it's on Instagram or in real life, because I read a quote one time that said, if I'm not encouraging and inspiring others, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing with my time? I'm not planting seeds. I'm not allowing people, you know, like room to grow. So that was a big force behind why it started. But I wrote it on a piece of paper and I hung it up just to kind of encourage myself. And I wanted to share with my followers too, that I had been just going through like a weird season, and, you know, that they weren't alone, and that self-kindness is such an important thing because it flows into how you treat other people. I don't think you can like not love yourself and then try to love other people or be kind to other people if it doesn't start internally. So yeah, I wrote it up and I hung it up and I kind of shared a little bit about that. And then I had the idea to pay it forward because I felt that somebody else needed to hear that too. So I just put it in the seat back pocket for somebody else on my next flight to find. And it kind of just started from there, and people loved it. And I've just been doing it for like over a year now. And other people have done it too, which is so cool. There's over like 600 posts, which is like, because it's literally like a note, like, and me sharing some of my story and my heart, and like people relate and they felt heard and loved. So that's why I think it's been such a successful thing.
That's
So,
incredible.
yeah,
I love that. And then that blew up recently. Tell me a little bit about that. That's crazy.
It's a dream. Yeah, I did. So that's kind of just like the backstory and like how it started. But I did a short interview with a video like channel on Discovery Channel that's called Seeker Stories, and I basically just answered questions like using my iPhone and sent them some images and everything. And so I sent it to them, and I didn't think, like, I was really excited and like humbled that, like, I mean, it's Discovery, like somebody from Discovery Channel. I was like freaking out. But I didn't think it was going to get like as big as it did. And somehow from that, it was shared. I don't know. Somebody got hold of it, and it like kind of went viral. I mean, I was on Good Morning America, and I haven't even seen it yet. Like, I was on Good Morning America like today. I couldn't even, ABC News. Like, my parents were sitting down having breakfast one day, and they just moved to Austin, but they were in Charlotte, and I was on the news in Charlotte, but like they didn't even know I was from North Carolina, and like my parents were just sitting there like eating, and they're like, "Hey, you're on the news right now." I was like, "What?" Like,
that's amazing.
Yeah, it still is like unreal to me. So, but yeah, that's it. I don't know. Somebody got a hold of it, and it just like spread like crazy. So was really encouraging and inspiring, you know?
That's so fun. I love that. I guess it doesn't even surprise me that it went viral, because it's this really optimistic, beautiful, fun, positive thing.
Yeah.
And I think people kind of crave that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't realize that while doing it, but as like I kept posting and realizing how many like people and like comments that were like, "Hey, I'm here too," or like emails, like just sharing their story. Like, I think people need love and like to be felt and heard so much. And it's something that is so hard to find in like this day and age, because it's always all about like yourself and how you can like better yourself, like, but not to gain anything like outwardly. It's all inwardly. So I think that's been like the most encouraging thing, like seeing it grow and knowing that people see that too and like feel that need. So yeah.
And
really
the growth is so evident too. You're at like 124,000 followers on Instagram.
So weird.
Like you've gotten hundreds of thousands of views on this video and other videos online. And that's so. And okay. I just read this. An elementary school has a Taylor Tippett project.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes, I have. That's crazy too. I've gotten like so many like direct messages from people at this elementary school in New Jersey that decided to start their own like project based off of Words from the Window. They just put encouraging sticky notes all over people's lockers. And I've gotten so many messages from these kids at this, or it might be middle school. I think it's elementary school. But that have just like thanked me for doing it. And I'm like, I just hang up a note. Like, so that was really, really cool to see that too. Unreal.
So good.
Yeah.
I love that.
I know, me too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so you've chosen to be optimistic and hopeful in your workplace environment, even when it's like kind of whatever, blah. But I've been following you on Instagram for years at this point. It's you know,
I know.
It's so weird. But I've been following you around for a long time, and you've had this really positive, fun, joyful way of sharing and seeing the world. Tell me about that intentionality, because I've got no doubt that it's intentional.
I think that, just like I had said, there's so much negativity, and I think I could sit and probably have an Instagram account for the negative things in my life. But I think that traveling has opened my eyes so much to like the beauty that's out there, and the strangers that I get to meet and the stories that I get to hear, like from somebody sitting on my plane. Like, there's just so much out there to be like thankful for and to like be on the lookout for. And so Instagram has been a really cool and amazing tool to doing that, because I could be negative any day, any moment, but the things that happen to me, I choose to see them as a story and something that like I can hold on to and like learn from in whatever way it is. So Instagram has been amazing to just be able to spread joy and love and hope, because we need it, I think, so desperately in a world that is, if you turn on the news, you know, you want to cry probably from some of the stuff that's on there. So if I can just spread hope and love and light through pictures and like my stories that sincerely happened to me, that's all that matters at the end of the day.
You're so good at that. I love that.
You are too, Mr. Storyteller.
Stop it.
Yeah.
No, like seriously, the way that you do all of this has continued to inspire me and shapes the way that I use the internet. And I've got no doubt that that's
touche.
been the same for other people.
Thank you.
I wanted to kind of back up a little bit in your history. Like I said, I've been following you for a few years, and I think it was a few years ago. You still had a pretty significant audience, not as big as yours is right now, and you started dating somebody who also had a pretty big audience. And you did a really good job of kind of sharing the process of that relationship, and then you guys got engaged, and you continued sharing that relationship, and then you guys broke up, and you called off the engagement, and you continued to do a really good job of being honest and vulnerable and real with your audience. And I really, really admired that during that whole process. And I can imagine that was really, really hard. Can you tell me about that choice to continue to invite people into that moment in what I imagine was one of the hardest points in your life? Yeah,
it definitely was the hardest this season has been for sure. But I think that I chose to share our story so much with my followers and he the same, that something had to be said. Like I couldn't, I, as a social media influencer who you let people in on glimpses of your life, that was a glimpse of something big that had happened. So I felt like I needed to share that the news that we had called it off. But not only was it for like just so people wouldn't ask me a lot about it and I wouldn't get questioned, but it was also for me too. Like I think I needed that closure as well. And just like I've been saying, I think that there could have been so many bad things that were said. I mean, because relationships are hard and they're messy and they can be ugly. And so, I just chose to see the good in it. I definitely think that it was for the best. And there's so much just out there in every single circumstance for me. And even with words from the window seat, you're just always growing and learning. And I think that calling off my engagement was a big part of that and growing up. And it's taught me so much about myself and about the life that I want to live. And it's caused me to just love people so well. I think when we're hurt and we're broken down, you really can grow in ways that you didn't know were even possible. So having said all that, it was hard, it was difficult, and it's still hard and difficult, but I've seen such growth out of it, that I'm just really, really thankful for all of it. So, yeah. That's so powerful. Yeah. What was the response from your online community when you shared that and kind of over the process of healing? Yeah. People were so loving. I might cry. I got so much love and hey, I'm here for you, or I'm praying for you. People that I don't even know. And it was hundreds of comments and emails and texts from people, sharing such heaviness. And I think when you feel like you've done something wrong, or I also felt like announcing that and calling it off too, I was going to disappoint people. So I was really, really timid to say anything, but just being ashamed kind of and scared and going out and saying something like that. I had that picture in that post literally for hours. And I when I hit share, I was shaking, and to do that and just to have so much love and encouragement and people just there that I didn't even know. And even till this day, I still have people who will email me and be like, hey, I know you called off your engagement. I just want you to know I'm still praying for you. And, just so many different things that it's just it's really cool to be able to see the good, especially when I was scared and heartbroken, and people are just still so loving. And that was so encouraging to be able to have and see. That's wow. Yeah. That's amazing. I think that says something about
the power and beauty of vulnerability. I think that's one of the hardest things to do. But I know in the past, the times when I've been really honest and genuine with my audience, because it's so easy to just share the highlight reels and to share the best moments of your life, which, you know, that's kind of what we want to see, and that's what's easy to post. But when you share the real things, like, we connect to people's brokenness more than we connect to their successes.
Yeah, no, that is very, very much so true. I love that way that you put that too. Yeah. That's just such a cool thing. I don't know if cool is the right word, but, you know, that something beautiful came from something that was broken. I think that's really powerful. Yeah. And I think that it's important too to like know that that's even possible, you know, because I think when you're down and you're sad and bad things happen, you feel like there's no hope or there's no love, and it's been the total opposite, you know? So it's been really great.
It's almost as if like experiencing like a great low enables you to experience the highs even greater, which I don't know. Do you feel like that's true?
No, and I think when you experience such low lows, joy is like a real thing. That's when I think of when you said like a really high. I just think that instantly was just joy. Like, I would never fully be able to understand and like appreciate joy and hope and love if I wouldn't have gone like down to my absolute low. And that is such like a valuable thing to have. So, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so here's a weird question. This is just something I'm like wrestling with as a part of this conversation. Is it almost as if we need to like seek out the opportunity to go to those lows? Like, is that a possible thing? Like, obviously you don't want to self-sabotage yourself. And maybe there isn't an answer for this that we come up with right here, right now. But I'm like, man, like, it would be like, I see the way you live and I see the joy you have. And I'm like, how cool would it be if everybody got to live like that? Like, I don't know. Is it almost like we should seek out the opportunity? Maybe it's not that we should seek out the opportunity to have like a really low moment, but it's like to experience the things that are low fully. Yeah.
I definitely think, and I know exactly what you're saying, like, you don't want to like go stand out in the middle of the road to get hit by a car so you can like know what it's like to heal from that. That I get like exactly what you're saying. But I think like as an example, like in my life, like I called off my engagement and I moved to Chicago to live on my own, which was exactly everything opposite that I had planned for my life. And I was very, very afraid to do it. And I did it anyways. And there were months where I just came home and cried and I was so sad. But one day it just clicked and like everything was like not okay, but I like knew it was going to be okay. So I think like incorporating that in like your question, I think that we should put ourselves into situations that scare us and that make us fearful to a certain extent to where it's like healthy. But I think that that's a really good way to like know like when things scare you and when you know that it might hurt, and to do it anyways and to reap that like just that whole process of learning and growing through like just doubt and so many other different things that come into play when we're following our heart, even if it is scary. I think that we grow in ways that are so important and so vital. So I guess that kind of answers your question in a way, you know, just doing things that we know are going to hurt, but not like being stupid about it, but, you know, like being smart about it as well. I think that's really important, and people should do it a lot more often because it's scary and it sucks, and there's moments where you're lonely or whatever it might be, but you grow in ways that you're going to have with you for the rest of your life. So,
yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I love that idea of the things that scare us, the things that freak us out. Those are the things that we should do. And obviously this is on a totally different level, but you and I were talking about this on the way over here, where it's like, I've been nervous all day about this podcast thing. And like, you and I are friends and like, we're just hanging out here, but I'm like nervous, and I've got butterflies like working on this podcast thing because it's something that like, I know that I should do, and I know it's going to be really like fun, but like that means the stakes are high, and I'm so excited for this to be happening. Yeah. But like, it doesn't come without fear, and it doesn't come without some risk.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, let me see how many weeks or days I can like put this off for, like maybe just to think about it a little bit more. Like sometimes you just gotta jump into it and do it. And get into a little booth. Go for it.
Go for it. Well, that's great. I want to start this thing where I ask my guests every single episode 3 questions. And so we're just going to kind of go through these, power through them. And I just want you to like talk through the first thing that comes to your mind. And so first question, I wish we had like a little bell thing. Ding, ding. First question is, who do you admire most in the world?
It can only be one person.
Okay, you make up the rules.
Who do I admire most in the world? I think I would have to say my stepmom. I couldn't pick a famous person or somebody who's like left a great, crazy legacy. My stepmom became my mom when I was like 10. And I think the role that she played, like stepping up to like be my mother and, you know, deal with somebody in their hurt, like as a child, is just absolutely incredible. And I am the woman I am today because of her. So for sure, my stepmom. I don't even have to think twice about that.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Or Justin Bieber. But I think I'm going to go with my stepmom. I don't know how many people would like that answer. Love you.
I'll let you have both.
Yes. Okay.
Best case scenario.
My back answer is Justin Bieber. So.
Yeah, Taylor just motioned. She's like, can you cut that part out? That's definitely staying in. So good. Okay, next question is, what are you either listening to or reading or watching right now that is just inspiring you like crazy? And you can't say Justin Bieber album.
Dang it. So listening to, I still adore Noah Gunderson's, I don't know if you listen to him at all, but Noah Gunderson album, Carry the Ghost. It is so real and raw and vulnerable and talks about so many things that nobody else would probably ever talk about. I always blast him and play him, and I love him.
He's so great.
He's so good. So his, for sure, has been an album that I've just always had on repeat. And I'm reading currently. I've been reading on and off If You Feel Too Much by Jamie
Twerkowski.
Jamie Twerkowski.
I love Jamie.
Yeah, that book, I always just have it in my luggage, and I pick it up when I need it most. It's so good. And there's been pages that I've just read and been like, okay, like he knows my like life right now because this is like jabbing me in the heart. Like it's so good. But I've always had that with me. And I'm almost on the last book, but I am reading Harry Potter for the first time ever. Changing my life. Like it is just so incredible. And yeah, it's about like this storyline is so crazy, but just about like bravery and courage, like, oh my word, like Harry Potter is it to the T, and his friends, like just like community and like love like his friends have, like it's ridiculous. So I'm about to start the last Harry Potter book, and I am just blown away. Like it's all I like talk about or think about. So yeah, I'm really excited. But yeah, so Harry Potter for the reading, and then for watching. I recently saw the Revenant, and it was really sad, but and a little bit intense. But the storyline and just like how it was filmed was so incredible. Like that was inspiring in itself, and just like his story of like, I think I've hit some really low lows, but there is nothing compared to Leonardo in the film. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, those are it. And then I mean, of course, The Office. Like I have to put that. Michael Scott is always inspiring any episode I watch. So always obsessed, always will be. So I think those are my tops.
That you have the best taste. I love that. Let me tell you a few things.
Okay.
One, I met Jamie Twerkowski and Noah Gunderson on the same night.
Oh, that is.
They came to my little tiny town.
Oh my gosh.
And they were Noah played a show, and then Jamie talked about hope. And afterwards, I stood in line to talk to both of them. Yeah. And Noah had these big long dreads, and we talked about I think some city that I think he was like, I don't remember. He was like maybe living in a city I loved or something like that. So he was really great. But then I got to Jamie, and I had long admired Jamie for the way that he spreads hope and is vulnerable and honest and genuine. And we're going to have him on the show sometime soon. But he's He's
he is the real deal
so good.
too.
I actually so I got to the front of the line and we started talking, and we had actually both just spent time at this one beautiful spot in Canada. We had both been there actually at the same time, but we didn't see each other. And we ended up talking for like 45 minutes. And he just like gave me that time and was generous. And it was crazy. Like, who does that? I was just some punk high school kid at the time. And I love that. And
that book is so good. Have you?
Yeah. It's so
like
good.
Every page, I'm like...
I'm rereading it right now. It's so good.
Yeah, I feel like it's something that you can pick up like whenever you need to. If you just, because it's so many different, like every chapter is different. It might be a letter or email or whatever, but it's really encouraging and hopeful. And I love both those things. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Our last question is...
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun. I love that. Yeah. Just we'll add that sound in for every episode from now on. So like, I'll be like, in the last question is...
Jaws. Hold on. Start saying the question.
No.
Need a sound effects board.
We need a sound effects board for sure. I'll call that one in. So the last question, what's one thing somebody else could do to live differently today?
There was this quote or this tweet that my friend tweeted one time that said, it doesn't take much of you going out of your daily day routine in life to change somebody else's whole entire day. So that has always encouraged me. And I think that if you just do something, like, even though it's like so overused, but like paying for somebody's meal behind you, or just like, if you think somebody's hair's cool, be like, hey, your hair's awesome. Like, because you literally have no idea what insecurities they might be having, like, or just smiling at somebody and saying hi. Like, I've done that so many times and people are like confused, like literally just smiling, like hugging somebody. Like, if you feel like they're going to be okay with you hugging them, like just the littlest things can literally alter somebody's day, somebody's week, somebody's life. You have like no idea what somebody's going through. So I would just encourage everyone to just do something. Just do something. It doesn't have to be anything big. You don't have to give somebody $100. Like, just smile, be kind, be generous, and you could literally change somebody's life.
I love that. That's beautiful. I think that epitomizes who you are and what you do. On that note, I'll just say, Taylor, if people want to follow along with your story, where can they do that?
So you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Taylor Tippett, TaylorTippett. And I have a blog, and you can go to www.atravelinglady.com.
And all of this is going to be in the show notes, and I'll probably even have a photo of Taylor in there or something, and I'll have the link to the video. And so, Taylor, I just want to let you know that I really admire you, and you inspire me. So thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you.
Sounds Good with Branden Harvey is produced by Gradient. Find out more at gradient.is. To keep up with me, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. My username is simply @BrandenHarvey. That's BrandenHarvey. And if you go to my website, brandenharvey.com, you can sign up for my weekly newsletter where I highlight 5 of the most hopeful things that happened in the world this past week. And I know it's new, but if you like this podcast, could you please do a couple of things for me? 1, it would be amazing if you would subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or Stitcher or SoundCloud or wherever it is that you listen to your podcasts. 2, while you're there, can you leave a review? It really helps more people find out about the podcast. It takes like 20 seconds. And then 3, ask your friends to subscribe and listen too. I think everyone could use a little bit more happy in their lives. So I'd love to get as many people as possible listening to the stories we're going to tell on this podcast. Okay, so that's all for this week's podcast. I can't wait till next week when we'll be back to learn from another incredible person. Sound good?